Hello everyone, this is Gaming on the Move and I'm back. In this video, we're going to go over some 3v3 options for some mid-game players who do not have Galactic Legends. I know that we don't see this game mode very often. It is a fun game mode, but it can be difficult choosing your teams because there's so many options. So I kind of wanted to go over some options that I've thought of that do not have any Galactic Legends, but kind of use your roster as best as possible. So for the first team, I have the classic Rex Echo 5s team. One of the biggest things you want with 3v3 is to spread your leaders around as much as possible while also trying to get a tank in each team. I find that is the best, at least for defensive teams. So that first team is great. Rex's leadership is great, gives a lot of health. Echo attacks constantly, is assisting. Rex is defensive with his taunts, and hopefully your Rex can last long enough until your 5 can last long enough to protect your Rex before he gets his one-hit aerial advantage attack off. Another option is using Shock T lead. I also have Rex and 5s. 5s to be the tank, and then Rex can be your big heavy hitter, clearing debuffs as well as using the aerial advantage. If you do have Gas, I like using Gas by himself, but if you need a heavier hitter, you can use him with Ahsoka and 5s. I usually try and use this team on offense and keep 5s for defense, but it is a great team. Gas is a heavy hitter, and then you're protecting Rex, and then Rex gets a taunt, and Ahsoka's clearing, so it is a pretty powerful team. But I don't usually use it too often, just because Gas can hit him by himself quite well. But if you do use that team, you can also go with the remaining Rex, Arc, and Echo as a secondary team for that as well. A very powerful Jedi Knight Revan team can be Jedi Knight Revan, Gas, and Jolie. Lots of people don't have Gas, so you can switch it up with like a Grandmaster Yoda or Jedi Knight Anakin. Bastila is also an amazing leader, so putting her with a very strong taunt in General Kenobi can be great with a strong, powerful attacker. So you can use Gas in this example. You can use a Revan if you want, but I wouldn't suggest that because you want Revan as a separate team with his lead. But you can use Grandmaster Yoda, you can use an Ezra, you can use kind of whatever. You can switch General Kenobi for an Old Ben. You can double tank it. You can throw in Bastila with the Zeta to really boost up your survivability as well. So there's a lot of options with Bastila lead. And here's another Jedi Era team just with Jolie and Yoda. So I usually try and use, if you don't have a taunting character, I usually try and use it for offense. So this Jedi Revan team would be a good offensive team. This Bastila team with Old Ben and Barris is Old Ben has some decent amount of life with the protection up and starting with the taunt due to the Zeta on Bastila, and then the Barris Zeta really gives some more healing and protection. Sorry, not protection, just overall protection against dying early. Padme is a phenomenal team. You always want to put her with a strong taunt. So I like General Kenobi, and then a strong attacker with General Anakin is great. You can swap out for Ahsoka as well. You can use C-3PO or whatever. Shock T and 5s work really great in this team as well. There's a lot of variety in these teams. So once I go over kind of just a whole bunch of these teams, I also have what my plan is for my first defense. The Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila is a classic great team. Malak is a great taunt with some heavy hitters with Darth Revan and Bastila, so it's a really very strong team. Malak is a very strong character by himself, so you can use him by himself and then swap it out for like an HK, and then just use Darth Revan, Bastila, HK on offense, and then use Malak by himself. I wouldn't put a single character on defense by himself, but he is a good offensive character by himself as well. I don't have a very strong Watt, but a good combination could be Darth Revan, Malak, and Watt. Watt can give those stats to Malak right away, and then it'll be a very difficult team. I'm not sure if I want to try this out this first time around. I like Watt's plug and play availability for offense, so I'll probably put the Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila on defense at least for the first round. But I do want to try the Watt in there as well on defense. Another option, if you do the Watt in with Malak and Darth Revan, is you can put Bastila with Emperor Palpatine. They work very well together, and then you can use Darth Vader as well. You can also use Darth Vader because of his rework. He's very good on his own with a couple other characters like Wampa or Thrawn or something like that. So using him as his own leader can be great as well. So I probably wouldn't go with this bottom option of this Emperor Palpatine Darth Vader Bastila team unless I'm facing a very, very tough team. There's lots of options for bounty hunters because so many of them have leadership abilities, but I just love the Bosk team. The classic Bosk Boba Dengar team is great. Just a good all around team. Bosk is very hard to get through, so if they don't have enough firepower, they're going to have difficult time getting through this team. Grievous has a lot of different iterations to go through. I like the B1 and Magna Guard team because Magna Guard taunts and B1 heals and does some good damage, but Magna Guard is not really necessary with Grievous because Grievous is going to mark the target either way, so the taunt's not really that necessary. But he is a good option in there. I love putting Grievous on defense because he can hit really well and do some good punch-ups, but he doesn't really do very many banners because of the marked ability that he uses to hurt his own teammates. So I like putting him on defense because of his big AoEs can really take away banners from them. So I think he's a really good defensive team. I like to switch out Magna Guard for B2 because the extra debuff removal is great, and with the marked abilities, you don't really need a taunt with him, and then that allows Magna Guard to go on a different team. The Geos, you can separate into two teams, but my other Geos aren't the greatest, so I like to just have one good Geo team with Brood Alpha as the lead. And then you have an additional taunt with Sunfac, so you actually have two taunts, and then my Spy doing some of the heavy damage, so that's a pretty great team. Mother Talzin, Daka, and Nightsister Zombie, I think, is the best iteration of the Nightsisters. I've played around with them a lot, trying to use Ventress as lead or just swapping on different characters. And I find that this team doesn't have the greatest attacking, but Plague can do some work. And then the combination of old Daka with Nightsister Zombie and Mother Talzin's lead for keeping people coming back really makes it a very hard team to get through. So if they don't have enough AoE, sometimes it can be very difficult for them to break through. A nice easy team is to have Nest. Nest is a great character. I like to try and use her solo on offense to get more banners, but she is a phenomenal standalone character, especially in 3v3. So if you tie her with Kira lead for the extra tenacity and then Watt, it could be great. I haven't used Watt much yet. I'm thinking I might want to try this, but I'm thinking I'm holding off Watt and Nest for offense just for now for this first iteration. There's so many iterations with the Rebels and the new Rebels. I don't have 2, 3, and 3PO yet. So I'm going with the classic CLS, Han, and Chewie. Because there's no taunt, I wouldn't really want to use this on defense, but it is a pretty good defensive team either way because of Han's stun ability for his Han shot first. If you have the Zeta, it can really disrupt the team, but because there's no taunt, I like to have more control, so I usually use them on offense, but they are a pretty good defensive team as well. For anyone going for Jedi Knight Luke, you're going to have Rolo, Captain Han, and Lando, so they're not the greatest characters. If you have 3PO and you can match them up with CLS, that's great, but I'm just going to kind of keep them together, and then Lando's leadership's okay with the speed and crit damage, but I feel like if you're going to use them on offense, that would be a better route. If you're going to have on defense the extra tenacity and turn meter gain from Rolo's lead is a better option. And finally is the Sith Triumvirate. I don't have Nihilist, so I put in Sith Trooper from my Darth Revan team, and it's great to have the extra taunts with Scion and Sith Trooper with Darth Treya. It's a hard team to get through. So there's lots of these exclamation points in the top left corner of them. That means they have been used in multiple teams. So I'm going to show you what most of my teams look like, or at least my plan is for this first iteration of Grand Arena. So I really like to use the Rex Echo 5 team on defense. So that is definitely giving me a team I'm going to put on defense. It needs a very strong team to beat it, and I have their relic up with their Zeta, so they have a very good team. So that's going to be my kind of plan. The next two teams are going to be the Shock and Gas teams. They're going to be used depending on what's going on. If I can use Gas solo, I will. And then I'll probably put Ahsoka and Arc with Shock instead, and then use C-3PO and R2 somewhere else. But if I need two heavier teams, I can do it this way. I can also put R2 with gas or whatever, and kind of swap these six characters around. But I'll probably be using these on offense with my full clones team on defense. For Padme, I like the absolute strongest Padme team, so I go with General Kenobi for the taunter and the heavy hitter, and Jedi Anakin. This is a very devastating team to beat, to get through. I usually use them on offense because they're so strong, but I may try to put them on defense depending on what the other team looks like against my opponent. Gen Knight Revan, I go for the strong Jolie Yoda combo. I'll probably use these on offense. It's a very strong combo. Yoda can get through lots, spread battle meditation, and Jolie kind of has that backup to save you with his revives. And then for my Bastila team, I like putting them on the back. They are a very strong team. Old Ben taunts right away and has lots of health, and then the extra protection up from from Bastila's lead is great, and then Barris's Zeta really gives them additional health recovery. So it's a tough team to beat, especially on the back wall. If you have a very strong front wall to go through, they may not have enough offense to get through this team. For this iteration, I'm going to use the Darth Revan Malak Bastila team. I'm going to use Watt on offense most likely. But this team's just great. It has lots of firepower as well as lots of strong defensive capabilities. So I like putting them on defense and really using up one of the opponent's best teams to get through Darth Revan. Grievous, I like using B1 and B2 because of the marked ability. You don't need a taunt, and it's great for defense because it takes a lot of banners. If you use it on offense, it can beat lots of good teams as well, but you don't get the greatest banners because of the marked ability. So putting on defense is a great way to steal banners from your opponent. And keeping Magna Guard off the team allows for a separate team to be made, like you see right below it with my Newt team. Newt has a stealth once he dies once, so he's pretty protective, and then the Magna Guard has his taunt, so he kind of tries to keep everyone else alive long enough for Droideka to do some major damage. If you get Droideka down right away, it's okay, but leaving him up too long, he can really do some damage and hurt. The Mother Talzin team is kind of the best iteration that I've found. It's just very, very survivable. It's very hard to beat unless you use some good characters. If you use some good characters, then it's just a big win. I'm going to use my CLS team on offense. You can use it on defense, like I kind of said earlier, but I just like the control with it. It's a very good team. You can do some great things with Han Shot first and the Chewie assisting both CLS and Han all the time. I haven't used this Rolo team yet, but I'm going to try it on defense. Hopefully I can put those characters to use, or else they're kind of useless right now. The Geo team doesn't have the greatest characters, but I kind of picked the three best, I think. Obviously, Brood Alpha is phenomenal. But in the 3v3 team, they don't do as great because they don't have the full power of a 4-man or 5-man team assisting. But I have the Spy to do the extra damage, and then I have Sunfac to have an extra taunt to really protect that Spy, because without Spy, I think you're not going to have enough damage to go through it. But it could still be a Taimo team with the Brood Alpha's taunt as well as Sunfac's taunt. So I plan to use my Darth Traya team in Scion with Sith Trooper. I'm not too sure if I want to keep this on offense or defensive just yet. If they have Geos, I'll probably keep them on offense. If they don't, I'll try it on defense with a double taunt. Bosk, I don't have the greatest bounty hunter, so keeping him with Dengar and Boba are a great combo. He has a great taunt with a great leadership ability. Boba's execution ability can be great, and then the detonators and stealth on Dengar combine well with Bosk's taunt. Ness, Hoda, and Watt are actually just gonna be a flex team. They're not probably gonna be a team in and of itself. I'll probably use each character differently depending on what I need to beat, but having Hoda and Watt can fit into any other team really to really give additional boosts. And then Nest is kind of a standalone character. She might go with one of those characters to get those boosts, but she might be just by herself, and she might go with a Cure Elite as well to get that extra tenacity. And finally, I have my Darth Vader Thrawn Emperor Palpatine combo. This is kind of to do some big damage. However, I might break it up depending on how weak some other teams are. If they have a weak Rebels, I'll probably take Emperor Palpatine out and maybe put a Wampa in with Darth Vader and Thrawn for a strong team, and then use weak Empire team to beat a weaker Rebel team. But there's a lot of different combinations. But this is kind of the majority of my teams I plan to use. I do have a weak. I still have like an Old Republic team, an Ewok team that I could use for some filler. A weak resistance team that I could put C-3PO on to try and do a bit more damage. But they're kind of weaker teams. They do really weak combinations right now because my characters aren't the strongest. But that is kind of everything that my plan is for my 3v3 defense. So once the Grand Arena gets up, I'll go through my attacking strategy and make a video on that as well. And yeah, thank you for watching and have a great day.